Well, time to depart. Today our Odyssey comes to its conclusion. We're about to leave Sandpatch after a very chilly night. The breeze never subsided during the night. I'm actually tucked away in the corner here of the hut so you can actually hear me because the wind has been ripping into here all night. So difficult to get a sleep, but we're going to get a good one tonight because we're heading towards hotel beds. Perfect. Jude's just on her way now. It's going to be interesting. It's about 13 k's today. The last part of it obviously is going to be on the outskirts of a city of around 25,000 people. So we're going to hit the outskirts and pavement and footpaths fairly early in the journey today. But it is going to be an interesting sensation along the way. Talk a little bit more about it at the end when we finally get to Albany and the southern terminus. But time to depart the last of the huts that we've seen and stayed in and campsites that we've enjoyed, and time to hit the road. We're off to Albany and the finish line. How are we feeling, Judith?
Very good.
Yeah?
13 k's to go.
You slept okay last night?
Oh, I slept very well.
Yeah, in your tent. And luckily for you, the little bottom of your tent protected your little feet from getting cold.
I wasn't cold, I was lovely.
Well, I didn't put my tent up for fear it was going to blow away before I got into it. So I didn't have a best night's sleep, mainly because my feet were freezing. But anyway, we're on our way to Albany. As we continue to wend our way into Albany, appropriate time once again to acknowledge the incredible work that the volunteers from the Bibbulmun Track Foundation do in helping maintain this track, along with the Department of Parks and Wildlife. It was interesting last night at the Sandpatch hut when I signed the book. I actually flicked through about 3 or 4 pages of those that had passed through that particular hut. And this really is an internationally recognised long distance through hiking track. There were people there from Finland, the United States, several different people from Germany, Belgium, the Netherlands, USA, and then of course on top of that there are so many other people. I just came across a snake just then, just meandering down into there. So they're out and about already, very early in the morning. But here what I was saying is, apart from all those international people that walk the track, there are a lot of people also from interstate. So a big hats off to everyone involved, whether they're volunteers or paid staff of DPOR, to actually maintain this track, because in many ways it is actually a very significant tourist destination for people from interstate and overseas. So hats off to everyone that has been able to make this Bibbulmun Track something since the dream of Jeff Schaefer back in the 1970s of actually having a long distance hiking trail in the southwest of Western Australia. They've all done a terrific job. everyone walks their own hike, which is certainly the case. In the Noongar language, Dabakan or Lini is what we've done. Walk slowly, go slowly. I know there's a lady by the name of Erica who remarkably holds the quickest end-to-end time of around 10.5 days. We're on day 59 today. Not all of those have been on the track. For me, 51 of them have been actually walking the Bibbulmun. We had a couple of, well, more than a couple, rest days in a few towns, and I had to go off for that family health reason for 45 hours. But yes, everyone does do their own pace on the Bibbulmun Track, and our pace has been slow, especially through springtime, to be able to absorb all the beauty of the Western Australian wildflowers and just to really take in the scenery, allied to the fact too that both of us are nearly 60. But yeah, it's been a slow walk for us, and we wouldn't have had it any other way. A lot of people challenge themselves physically, and good luck to them. But for us, it's been a journey of real exploration of the southwest of Western Australia and everything that it has to offer. So whilst we mightn't have been the quickest, probably certainly not the slowest, we've gone at a pace that just suits us absolutely perfectly. And we're keeping to that pace as we head now into Albany. Certainly getting close to Albany now, I can hear traffic noise not that far away. It's a city, Albany, not a town like all the other venues we've been calling into along the way. Population of probably about 30,000 nowadays. So we're about to get into an area where it'll feel very much like we are back in suburbia. It'll take a while for both of us to make that adjustment, but we're not too far away from re-entering a city. Inside the last 2 kilometres now, and I guess this is really where the melancholy for me starts to set in. Less than 18 months ago I'd never hiked in my life, and Jude was talking to me over coffee about doing the Cape to Cape, and I was talking to her about it, and from there I thought I'd give it a go, and she helped source all my equipment for it, and I did give it a go, and we walked that late 2021. And around that time she told me that she'd always had a dream for around 10 years of doing the Bibbulmun Track end to end, and at that stage I said, well, maybe I should have a go with you. We did the Cape to Cape half of it again, a 4-day hike. We did some training runs up in the Darling Range, and then 59 days ago we set off on this epic adventure. The sad thing for me is that a really good friend of Jude's has arrived over in Perth, and they do a lot of cycling together, which they will do in the coming months. They've both ridden the Munda together. But then in around April next year, Jude is heading back to her place of birth, England, for at least 6 months, but could well be 2 to 3 years. She's going to be cycling the first 3 months she gets there, and then who knows what happens after that. So the joy of completing this first massive through hike is tempered a bit by not knowing when I'll do it again. Not the bib, but any long through hikes. She's been a tremendous mentor and has taught me so much. And whilst I could probably do something on my own, I would much rather do it with her. We have a great rapport, similar personalities in some ways, not in others. But yeah, as I get towards the finish line here, it's a sense of jubilation for what I've achieved, but also a sense of wonderment as to when I'm going to get the opportunity again. So as I've said for the last few days, it's a melancholy feeling heading towards the end. We're actually heading to what is a reasonably recent southern terminus. It used to be down near the railway station on the very foreshore of King George Sound, but it's now been moved and was officially opened not that long ago. It might have even been last year, thereabouts. But it's not far from the visitor centre. It's the visitor centre where you go and sign the logbook for the last time, and also where you can ring the bell. So we're not exactly sure. Our downloaded maps are older ones on our watches, but it is very well signposted all the way along here. About every second or third lamppost has the woggle on it. So heading to the new iteration of the southern terminus of the Bib. Pretty much our final turn, because at the bottom of this hill, through the car park, is the end of the Bibbulmun Track. Here we are on York Street. Jude is right behind me, and the terminus is about 20 metres in front. The end of the Bibbulmun Track. 1,033 kilometres that we've walked, with diversions and the likes. We've climbed Everest roughly 3.7 times, over 32,000 metres. There is the southern terminus for the Munda, and just around the corner is the southern terminus for the Bibbulmun Track.
Where I stopped my watch for the last time.
Exactly. Well done, Judith. High five.
High five in front of the thing. Low five.
High five for each up. We got there.
Let's stop the watch.
Well, we've had 2 months now, Jude. It feels like it was about 2 years ago since we've been off the track, but we thought we'd wrap it all up with, I guess, a bit of a reflection. We'll talk right at the end about what we made of the entire journey, but let's start with huts. What's your favourite hut along the 49 of them?
Well, I have to have two favourite huts.
That'd be right.
Because I can't just have one. I liked Warren, and the reason I like Warren is even though it was in trees, it still felt open. I like to be in open areas, not so much in closed, contained areas. So Warren was just beautiful, and you had the mist in the valley, and it was just stunning sunlight. But also, because I'm a big fan of the ocean, then Rainhead. When I got to Rainhead, I got there quite early, and I was on my own for most of the day, and I just sat on top of a picnic bench with my book, looking out over the ocean, and that to me was just fantastic.
Well, you've stolen one of mine. Well, you have stolen mine. Warren for me. Tom Road I did like, but Warren I thought was just spectacular. Waking up in the morning and having the mist through the carry trees. It was a valley of carry trees. It was beautifully high position. So for me, Warren. I think we laboured on this enough during the walk, but your favourite flower?
It's the purple enamel orchid.
Anyone that's followed this will be aware of this fact.
I really like the purple enamel orchid. I've always liked it, and I quite like the pink enamel orchid as well, but with the purple.
Okay. Mine was actually the purple tassel, which is probably a little bit unrealistic, or probably a lot of people wouldn't think, but when you look at the photos now, you'll see that it comes up photogenically absolutely beautiful. So that was mine. So we've both gone for something that's purple. What about your favourite moment along the way?
I don't even like purple.
Right.
It's not
you
my
took
favourite
you took
colour.
enough photos of it. Favourite moment?
That's really difficult because there were so many favourite moments for different reasons, and sometimes you just come around a corner and see a different view, and you just, yeah, it was amazing. But ultimately I think for me was hitting the beach at Conspicuous Cliffs, Conspicuous Beach, or Conscientious
Conspicuous Cliffs, I think it is, isn't it?
It's Conspicuous Beach.
Beach, okay.
Just walking along, you walk along the sand dunes in a straight line following the actual contours, and then just hit the beach. And when I hit the beach, I was walking on my own, so it was really good.
A real bonus for you. We'll touch on that in a minute.
And I just hit the beach and it just looked amazing. There was no one around. I stopped, had a cup of tea, and I actually sat on the lookout for a long time, just looking out at the ocean. Loved it.
My favourite was actually pretty early in the trip, and that was Helena. We stayed in our tents there, which we didn't often do along the way. In actual fact, we stayed in huts a lot more than we thought. But Helena waking up in the morning was absolutely magnificent. It's a very big rammed earth hut, and we had our tents up behind it, to the left as you're looking out over to the valley, and just the mist in the morning, very early as the sun was just breaking through, it actually looked like you were looking down into a lake rather than looking down into a valley, and the sun cresting the hill on the left. For me, that was spectacular.
Yeah, no, it was beautiful.
Now, least favourite moment along the way?
Oh, that's easy, absolutely simple. There's no problem with my least favourite moment, and that's walking along Albany Highway for 2.5 days. Whatever, no disrespect for people out there, but whoever did that and put us along the highway is crazy. It was so dangerous and it was so horrible. You couldn't get off the road because of the camber. It was hot, it was miserable, and then you get off the road and you...
Well, even walking along, there were road trains coming straight towards us.
the road trains were insane, yeah. No, it was
dangerous.
It was just horrible, and afterwards you're not... Well, I wasn't in a good headspace. And then you walked on quite a big gravel road, which normally wouldn't be too bad, but when you've just done the other stuff, it was kind of, yeah, not very nice. And then once you get to Nerang, you didn't and weren't allowed to go to Nerang, so you went to a temporary campsite, which was, well, about as much thought putting into where to put that temporary campsite as like about 5 seconds.
It was easy to get the Portaloo in, and I think that was the only reason they chose it. It wasn't actually placed by anyone who's ever done any camping, so that was really horrible. So I was quite grumpy. Yeah, no.
And your back hurt as well.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. It was, and we sat down. Well, we got our Helinox chairs out before we even bothered to put the tents up, and I was sitting there and probably had 3 or 4 kangaroo ticks on the legs within the space of a couple of minutes. So that wasn't very well planned. Not even any logs you could actually sit on. So they didn't do a good job there at all.
No.
Favorite stage?
2.
Again.
Yeah, 2, definitely 2. So
you don't make editing all that easy, but anyway.
So yeah, because I really liked walking from Giants to Ramehead.
Because you're on your own?
Yeah. Oh, we're wobbling the table. Because Giants, you were starting off in the trees, you're in the carry, and then you went to coastal scrub. Sand dunes, coastal scrub area, which the wildflowers during that particular bit were amazing, and then you hit the coast, Conspicuous Cliffs, Conspicuous Beach, and then walking along the coast and then getting to Ramehead. That was just unbelievable. But I also really liked walking from West Cape Howe to Torbay. That was really nice. That was really changing coastal scrub again, which I really like.
I should have added a few more highlights, the river crossings. There weren't any.
Yeah.
The kayak was terrific, you did a very good job there, but the main thing with me, I didn't have to go wandering through knee-deep water to get across a raging torrent at all at Parry's Beach or Torbay.
I was actually quite disappointed because I was going to laugh at you quite a bit, but no, I was actually a little bit disappointed on that.
Yeah. For me, I didn't give my downside. My downside was actually probably the little time we had in Walpole, because unfortunately for me, as we highlighted back a few episodes, for family health issues, I had to go home and I wasn't sure whether I would come back and complete it, but I was able to get back. But for me, the favourite stage is actually a little bit in reverse to what you had. Mine was Long Point to Walpole. So I started on the beach, and it was quite amazing that not long after going through the dunes, all of a sudden the terrain changed. There's someone here to see if there's any sharks, which we have had along the coast here in recent days. The terrain changed from the dunes, and all of a sudden it went to sort of halfway between dunes and forest, and all of a sudden we saw our first tingles and we're actually into Karri Forest. So for me that was spectacular, to go from the ocean to heavy forest in the space of a couple of hours.
And then going up Mount Clare, and also there was a lot of orchids along there as well, some beautiful, like, pretty orchids. I don't know what they're called.
But they were delightful, folks, take our word for it.
They have Latin names. I just call them like green ones and purple ones.
Yeah, lovely. Chris, one of our viewers who was watching earlier, made a comment in one of our episodes about if we were doing it again, what would we change? What would we do differently? I must admit, I didn't have anything that I would change.
Not that I'd really change, because it's too easy in hindsight, I suppose. But for me, maybe sometimes I felt I rushed the days and wanted to get to the huts, which I probably should have spent more time making cups of tea. Because when you stop, you see more birds, you see what's going on. So I think probably I should have stopped more. That's what I think.
For me, one thing I wouldn't change is the fact that I was well catered for along the way. Your preparation, making all the meals with the exception of the beef rendang, I can't thank you enough, but also the amount of work that you put in to make all those dehydrated meals, which actually made walking a lot easier because we were carrying a lot less.
The dehydrated meals just work because I knew how much nutrition, I knew how much food value we were getting. There was so much vegetables in it, because I didn't tell you, but the whole of the trip was vegan.
You lied. You did tell some fibs at times.
Yeah, it was all vegan. Just because for dehydration you don't have any problems with the oil going rancid in the meat. So yeah, but it does take, prep is a lot of prep. Yeah. My little dehydrator was going crazy. And
13.8 kilos I lost, so that was an added bonus as well. So in wrapping up, I'll finish because I was the novice, but you've done a lot of this before, long distance hiking. You had a dream for about a decade of doing the bib. So what does it mean to you now that it's you can tick that off?
Well, that's fantastic, but I don't look at it like that. I look at, when am I going to do it again?
Yeah, we're going to do it. We are going to do it one day, folks. Probably won't be making another doco, but we are going to do it south to north. But for you, it was a dream you held for quite some time.
It's just being able to be free and just walk. Yeah, I loved it. Don't regret a second of it. No.
And as I mentioned earlier in this episode, when I was getting close to Albany, for me it was a bit of a game changer. Until Jude, we're actually sitting out in Trigg, in a beach just in the sort of northern suburbs of Perth, if you like, or western northern suburbs. It was where we met here for a coffee one day, as we used to regularly do, and Jude said she was going to walk the Cape to Cape. That was only about 16 months before I took on the bib, and I'd never done anything before in my life. So you're going to take a little sojourn shortly back overseas. You're from the UK, but we've made a bit of a pact that when you get back again, we'll be doing some more hiking. But we thank everyone that's actually been watching this 18 episodes. Actually edited a lot quicker than I thought. I thought this episode would come out in about 18 months' time, but it's relived some great memories. Thank you very much to you, Judith, for introducing me to hiking. Thanks very much for watching, and one day we'll be out on the trail again together. Catch you later.